Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be covering a slew of different topics. Obviously, update 5.3.1 dropped today, so I'll be giving a quick reminder as what happened in the update today. We'll also be talking about the new Battlefield 2042 podcast, in which the developers actually gave us quite a bit of new information regarding when to expect the next update and just further changes to come. But we will also be talking about who the podcast was with. This podcast was actually with a quote-unquote player of the game, but it isn't exactly how it sounds like, and we'll be diving into what I exactly mean about that into this video. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. It really helps the channel out a lot. I appreciate everyone that does that. And of course, subscribe to the channel. The 50,000 subscriber special is done, ladies and gentlemen, so I would love to show that to you guys as soon as possible. If you're not subbed to the channel, consider doing so. I will cover basically most FPS games that come out. So if you're interested in X-Defiant, Call of Duty, Delta Force, and upcoming Battlefield stuff, this channel is probably for you. Now, just a very quick reminder on the quote-unquote update 5.3 that came out yesterday, actually. This update, I don't even know if you can call it an update. They literally fixed 4 things, okay? They nerfed the helicopter tow missile. They fixed some SOFLAM stuff. They removed some specialist model disappearing from the Battle Pass tab. And they also resolved an issue of players spawning out of bounds on Stranded. That's all they did. That's this quote-unquote update. It's not an update. It's more like a hot fix. So if you didn't know why you had to update your game and you wanted to know why, now you know. Moving on to the podcast. This is the first Inside Battlefield podcast they have done with a quote-unquote player of the game, and they specifically did it to get a Battlefield player's perspective. But you kind of have to look at who they did the podcast with, and it becomes very obvious that this is not exactly a Battlefield player's perspective. Or at least it's not of a Battlefield player's perspective that isn't heavily sponsored, let's say. If you take a look at who the podcast was done with, it is a fellow by the name of Logan the Brawler Gaming. And if you take a look at his Twitter account, he's a member of the EA Creator Network, and he is a DICE friend. So let's just say there isn't much incentive for him to be completely honest with his thoughts. And furthermore, I do have to say that I don't think this is the real perspective of about 75 to 80% of the Battlefield player base, maybe more. So while I really don't have any problems here with Logan the Brawler at all, I've never spoken to him, I've never really interacted with him, you can't help but look at the situation and just go, you know, I don't really think that represents what people think about the game. But from EA's perspective, why would they ever have just a random real Battlefield player on? Because if you do that, then the real thoughts about the game might come out, and of course they can't have that. Now, moving on to what was actually said in this podcast, or some of the information, this is via Battlefield Bulletin. The Tor tank, the railgun tank, is finally going to be getting some balance improvements in one of the game's future updates. Now, I personally hope this improvement is they just remove it from the game. I genuinely think that is the only way you can really balance the Tor tank. It is actually the most overpowered tank ever put in a Battlefield game. It's the most overpowered anti-vehicle tank ever put in a Battlefield game, and there really isn't any way to fix it. So I would prefer them to remove it from the game, but of course they aren't going to remove it from the game. So what could they possibly do to it? Well, they could reduce the velocity, but I guess that doesn't make sense because it's a railgun tank. They could make it so APS stops the rails from actually penetrating, which is, I think, the best course of action. I think it is inherently unbalanced that the Tor tank can just shoot through APS and, HE shells and MPAT shells can't. So in a straight 1v1 with this, you just automatically lose. But moving on to some further things they mentioned, apparently there is no plan to change squad sizes to 8, and I have to agree with that. I think the people asking for larger squad sizes are kind of out of their minds, and they don't really consider the consequences of that. Think about how impossible it would be to wipe a squad size of 8 people. Just think about that for a second. It's already pretty difficult to wipe a squad of 4 people. Imagine chasing down 8 people that all potentially could have spawn beacons. It would literally ruin the entire gameplay. So I am glad to hear that there are no plans to change squad sizes past 4. People are asking questions about attack helis on Breakthrough. Will they return? When are they coming back? If you remember, attack helis on Breakthrough used to be a thing, but they got removed, I want to say, over a year ago at this point. And DICE said, if we keep hearing consistent feedback on them, we will ship it to the devs. So I personally hope that they will come back. I think that would be a welcome addition. Just a quick friendly reminder to hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you're enjoying the content, I really do appreciate you guys. Moving on to the next changes here. DICE is actually working towards improving the, quote, aim experience on console, and that you guys should stay tuned for some news in the coming weeks. How about the aim experience for all platforms? How about that? How about you fix the aim experience for all platforms? That would be fantastic. The next update actually got some talk in this podcast, and unfortunately, the next game update is set for the Season 6 update. So I think that's like, what, 4 weeks from now? Or 3 weeks from now? I don't know, it's all a blur to me. Comment down below if you know. Some of you might recall that the Conquest vehicle count numbers have been tweaked recently, and DICE stated that there are no immediate plans to rebalance vehicle count numbers on Breakthrough, which I actually found interesting because I thought they might actually go ahead and give Breakthrough a once-over, but it doesn't look like they are going to do that. And last, but certainly not least, there are some very interesting things going on at DICE right now. It seems that they are, quote, assembling the Avengers for the next Battlefield game. And in the podcast, it was actually mentioned that the lead game designer, Drunksy, some of you might know him by Florian, has already been working on the next Battlefield game. Another developer on Twitter stated that there have been a lot of people returning to DICE, I assume to work on the next Battlefield game as well. So it seems like they really are putting all hands on deck for the next Battlefield game, going back and rehiring ex-developers from, I assume, maybe Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4, stuff like that, to work on the next Battlefield game. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm sort of in that boat where I don't care what they say, I don't care how good the trailer is, I don't care how much hype there is. I am not going to be convinced until I get my hands on the next Battlefield game and play it for myself, and I think a lot of other people are in that same boat. They can make all the chatter they want about whoever they hire. I legitimately don't care. Let's see the product. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this video up. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. 50,000 subscribers special is really awesome. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Make sure to follow my Twitch. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. First link in the description. Following is free, and I will see you guys later.